Hello Somerville, my name is Ed Halloran. Welcome to the Somerville Labor Show. As you can hear, the music that you're just listening to right now coming in, that's the Helen Trio from Somerville. It's great music. They've got 2 albums, and we appreciate the fact that they let us use their music on the incoming and the outgoing. Fantastic. We have a show here today that's going to talk about food. We're going to talk about groundwork in Somerville, which is really very important, and some of the volunteer efforts that's going on in the community. And before I introduce my guest, I would like to give you a little, just a brief little history about our guest has been with Groundwork Somerville since the spring of 2017, and excited to work alongside some of you towards environmental, racial, economic, and food justice. She graduated from Somerville High School in 2010 and from Tufts University in 2014 with a BA in Community Health and American Studies. She brings experience in farming and food justice from the Food Project and Waltham Fields Community Farm, in workers' rights organizing from Tufts Labor Coalition and Mascosh, and in housing advocacy from the Community Action Agency of Somerville. Rae is thrilled to be working in her own community and looks forward to growing food, building youth power, and pursuing environmental and health equity with the Green Team. Welcome to the show, Rae Axner.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good to have you here.
Happy to be here.
I guess my question I'm going to ask, right from the onset, here's the question I'm going to ask you. If you don't know what groundwork is, okay, how would you explain it? And you know, I mean, if I'm brand new coming to the city, or maybe I've been here for a very long time, and I just don't really know much about it. Can you give us a brief description of groundwork?
Sure, yeah. So just off the bat, I would say that Groundwork Somerville is a local nonprofit, and in short, we are committed to creating a cleaner, greener, healthier, and more equitable city. And we do that through programs in a few different areas: food and farms, youth development, building a sustainable environment, and working for health and racial justice. So that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is. Because I know there's a lot going on with that too. I mean, I know you have a lot of gardens popping up. We'll talk about that later on. This is a wonderful time of the year.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, this is the time of the year when you're going to start growing. So can you give me, how did it begin? You know how it actually began from its inception? Just a little history on that?
Sure. So there are groundwork trusts, actually different branches of groundworks across the country.
Okay.
And it began actually in the UK as a way to remediate brownfields, so contaminated land, and a way to bring the community together to create something positive and create environmental restoration from contaminated land. In the US, there's lots of different focuses that the different groundwork branches have. So Groundwork Somerville is an independent organization. We focus mostly on food justice and other projects surrounding that, but it is kind of anywhere in the communities where different groundwork trusts are based. The groundwork trust is focusing on whatever that community needs in terms of environmental justice.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop for a minute, and what we're going to do here is we're going to show you a video on what Rae has just described to you. We'll be right back in about 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Located on a quiet sidewalk right outside of Boston, this small farm cultivates a lot more than fruits and vegetables.
We try to basically bring power to the people of Somerville to improve the environment and work for economic, social, and environmental and racial justice.
Groundwork's volunteer and youth education programs strive to educate the community on the link between environmental conditions and the social health of a neighborhood.
Areas that have the most green space are often most easily accessed by white people and higher income people, and the areas that have the most environmental hazards are most easily accessed, and more communities of color and low-income communities live near those areas.
The Green Team is one group where teens work on projects to bring green spaces and better water quality to low-income neighborhoods. They also work on the farm to learn about urban agriculture and civic engagement in the community.
Our vision is to build a cleaner, greener, healthier, more equitable Somerville.
Not only does Groundwork Somerville have a farm right outside of Boston, but it also has a mobile farmers market that sells food to areas around Somerville that may not necessarily have easy access to fresh produce. It's open on the weekends from July through October. Reporting for BUTV, I'm Samantha Smrechniak.
Okay, we're back. I hope that was that minute and a half. It gave you some very good education on what Groundwork does in the community. So I'm going to read the mission statement of Groundwork. Groundwork Somerville strives to bring about the sustained regeneration, improvement, and management of the physical environment through the people development of the community-based partnerships which empower people, businesses, organizations to promote environmental and economic well-being. So can you give us some of those examples of what exactly Groundwork says when it talks about promoting environmental and economic social well-being, because that's something that I think is important as well.
Yeah, of course. So one of our main programs is the Green Team, which I know we're going to talk about a little later, and that is a youth jobs program. And so part of the economic well-being that we're promoting is providing youth jobs and pathways for young people to get into future green job careers. And while they're working, they're also growing food for the city. So we are providing that kind of environmental well-being.
So when you say green jobs, what kind of green jobs would you, I mean, I understand the type of green jobs you guys, what green jobs would they sort of segue into?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question.
That's kind of what I'm wondering, because we had Lisa Lee on the show a couple weeks ago, and we talked about that from Better Future. And I was very, very interested in this whole thing about the new Green Deal and what's going on. So would you expect that they would kind of like move into a field like that? Is that what the training would provide?
It's very possible. We don't provide job training that is like extremely specific to those more advanced careers. But what we do really well is provide kind of the training around soft skills, around communication, around professionalism, getting to work on time, how to work respectfully in your community, and also around food justice and environmental justice, and civic engagement. So I think
dealing with the community too, I think is really important too, with some kind of a back and forth with the community and all of that. Do they canvass and discuss things? Talk to people with outreach and things like that? That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about too.
Absolutely. So the Green Team does learn a lot about kind of what the issues are that are going on in the city, both in terms of environmental issues and food issues, but also just in terms of housing and jobs and development and displacement, gentrification, voting.
We've talked about a lot of that in this show.
Yeah, and so they're learning about that and how those issues connect to environmental issues as well. And I think that information is kind of really what sets them up to get into those career
I actually like that. I
pathways.
think the earlier the better to get people involved in that, because so many times, but I think, and I don't want to bring me into this, but the generation that I grew up in, we really did care about what was happening back in the 60s.
Absolutely.
In the 70s, because there was some crazy things going on. As you know, it's 1969. A lot of things happened there with the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. So many things happened back then. I think it's great that you're going to have that this is what's happening with the youth and the way you're doing that. So when you say outreach, what do you guys do? Is there anything to outreach to the residents to get them involved?
Sure,
Because I know you get some community gardens and things like that, right?
Yeah, so we kind of do outreach across the whole range of ages in Somerville, in the Somerville community. So we provide programming in the Somerville Public Schools for elementary and middle school students. They get their hands dirty in the school gardens and learn about how to grow food and what healthy food is. And
I've seen them. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. And then, of course, we have the Green Team. That's a teen program. And we also do outreach to our communities that are older, families, elderly folks, through the Somerville Mobile Farmers Market, where we sell the food that we grow right here in Somerville as well.
I like that too. That's something else we're going to talk about. So I guess let's talk about the Green Team. All right, the Green Team, the summer jobs that you guys, are you about to start to provide those jobs? Okay, what is it? What's exactly going on with that? Like how does one get a job there, and what kind of jobs are they? What will they be doing?
Sure. So we bring new Green Team members on each summer, and we have just pretty much wrapped up our hiring process. We actually had a lot of applicants.
So it's too late for me?
Unfortunately, yes. It's too late for you in a couple of different ways. Sorry
Too late for Jude.
It.
Even my age, probably. Okay.
Yes, unfortunately. But, you know, older folks can volunteer as well, so we'll love to have you
I'm all
on the
about
farm. But yeah, for the teens, we do open up applications for the summer, and then they have a job that is 7 weeks, 20 hours a week for the whole summer, and it's paid hourly. It's a good job. Some of them are provided by the city of Somerville, and they're placed with us, and other different programs that get placed with us as well. And they learn leadership skills, public speaking, community engagement skills, professionalism skills.
I like that. Getting paid for public speaking.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
That's one of the most fun parts, and they develop those skills, and then in the summer they're doing a lot of urban farming down at South Street Farm right here in Somerville. They're doing caring for the school gardens, doing some other environmental restoration projects.
I can tell you the South Street farm down there is amazing.
And the Green Team actually built that just a few years ago with
a little help from the
city. There's a little help from the DPW as well.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Thank you.
More than a little.
We appreciate that. You know, you can give us a little plug there.
Yep.
That's all good.
Absolutely.
So, if you haven't seen that, it is an amazing flourishing garden that's happening down there right now. So, what is a mobile farmers market, and what's your involvement with that? Because I know that that's out there. I'm not sure how many people actually know it's out there, though.
Right.
But we're hoping from this show that more people will know that it's there.
Definitely,
Can you tell us a little about the
it's a
farmers
great
market?
resource in the city. So the Somerville Mobile Farmers Market, it's run by Shape Up Somerville, and Groundwork Somerville supports it as well. So we grow food at South Street Farm in Somerville, and we sell it at the Mobile Farmers Market. And the farmers market also sells food from other local farms that are bigger than ours. We only grow on a 1/4 acre of land, so it's a very small urban farm that we have.
So, all right, so we'll talk about food and growing food from a garden like that, okay? And organic, not organic, whatever it may be, as we think about it. It's healthy food, and I know a lot of people get turned off when they hear about organic, and I don't think it may not be because they think there's something wrong with organic food, because organic food is free of pesticides. It's so good for you. We all know that. It's the price. So is it my understanding that it's cheaper than if you had to go and buy it at a supermarket?
Yes.
Not that we don't love our supermarkets in Somerville.
For sure.
Okay?
For sure. It is very affordable, and that's kind of part of what the mission of the mobile market is that not only is it mobile, it goes to the places where our communities are, where they want to go out and buy fresh food, but it also is subsidized by the city, and so the food is very affordable. It actually is maybe even cheaper than Market Basket, and it is local, fresh, organically produced food. So even though we don't have an organic certification, we do everything with organic practices. We don't use any pesticides.
So tell me, where are some of these gardens, these community gardens, where if people want to get involved? Now I know we're in Union Square right now.
Yep.
I think we have one over the hill here. It's on Concord Ave.
There is a community garden on Concord Ave. We don't manage that space, so we don't manage many of the community garden plots. So if you get on a very long wait list. You could get a community garden plot. We don't manage those, but we do
But you encourage them.
We encourage them. We're happy for people to, start their own small gardens as well. You can grow food in a very small space. You can grow food in a 5-gallon bucket on your porch. You can grow food in a raised bed in your backyard. I wouldn't recommend growing food in the Somerville soil without having treated it and tested
I
it.
agree. I agree.
But you can grow food in small urban spaces, and we provide kind of information and resources to the community about how to do that. And South Street Farm is really a demonstration site as well for that.
So tell me. I mean, this may not be interesting to some people, but it's very interesting. You'd be amazed at some of the viewers that really love to hear about gardening and things like that. And certain foods. What type of vegetables you guys growing?
Well, Somerville has a really strong history of urban gardening, right? We have lots of
urban farming now.
Yeah, urban farming now.
Yeah.
But before it was called urban gardening, it was people growing tomatoes and cucumbers and grapes in their yards and whatever. So it's just more of that, and it's developed as we've had different communities moving into the city. So we grow tomatoes, we grow carrots, we grow cucumbers, and we also grow what we call world crops, which are basically vegetables and fruits that have been requested for us to grow by the immigrant communities in Somerville.
That's another thing too, when we talk about that in the immigrant community. Now, is some of this geared towards people who don't have the money to buy the organic food?
Absolutely, yeah. So at the mobile market, it is definitely mostly geared towards those who would not otherwise be able to afford organic style produce or local produce, because at farmers markets and some grocery stores it is very expensive and it's just not accessible.
So I know Erica. I'm on the wellness committee in Somerville. I'm proud to serve on that. And they do wonderful work. I know Erica gets out there and goes out with the truck.
Yep.
Seen her drive it?
Yep.
Okay. And she's out there at, they got Mystic View. Is it Mystic Avenue? There's a little work out there. She's out there. Can you give us some of the locations where they, how about this? Give us a couple locations and when we can find them if we're looking to buy something.
Yeah, so the mobile farmers market runs basically from July through October.
Okay.
And it's on Fridays and Saturdays. And it stops at 4 locations. It stops at the Council on Aging, the East Somerville Community School, North Street Housing Development, and the Mystic Housing Development. And so you can find online the exact schedule for when it is where. But those are the 4 stops every weekend, July to October. Yeah.
So you have donors as well, people who donate, right? Local farms?
To the mobile market.
Yeah. So if, in other words, let's say we have, you guys just have an amazing, I'm sure you have a great turnout. A lot of people want to buy that, but you also have some help. Yeah,
so actually the city actually kind of runs that program, and they purchase food from local farms. So they purchase the food from us and covers our cost of growing the food that we grow at South Street, and also from other local farms. And then the Green Team members that we hire help out and sell the produce at the mobile market. So if you visit the mobile market, you'll get to meet.
I'll get to meet some of those people, and maybe I can get a T-shirt out of it if I.
Yeah, if you're really nice.
All right. Well, I think I might have one for you too later on if you're really nice. Okay. You're a great guest though. Current volunteer opportunities.
Yes.
So, I've got. What are some of the things you guys do have? I've got a list here because I cheated. I went on your website. Makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about, which I do.
Absolutely.
Somerville Spring Cleanup.
Yep. Do that every year.
You guys do that every single year?
Just passed, but that's a great opportunity to get out. We do clean up sites at, I think, around 10 or 12 different areas around the whole city. So
that's 4.1 square miles. You'd be amazed at how there's a lot going on in the city of Somerville, and I work at the Department of Public Works, so we appreciate the fact that you guys come out there. It helps us greatly, I can tell you that.
We appreciate that. You bring out the tools and kind of do it without you.
Yeah, we do. You're right. So you've got school gardens.
Yes.
And we've got the South Street Farm, which we talked about. The Groundwork Somerville Ambassador. I'm not quite sure what that is.
Yeah, so that's a program that we are trying to start up, that basically if someone is interested in bringing the message of Groundwork out to the community, that they could come to us and get trained on how to talk about what we do with the Somerville community, and then kind of spread the message at all of the various events.
Is that a canvassing? Is that a canvassing kind of a thing where you go out and you knock on
Not as
doors?
much canvassing, but going to community events. We have so many wonderful events here in the city that
Okay.
you would go and spread that message. But we also host volunteers at South Street Farm, at, like you mentioned, the school gardens. We manage the school gardens at the 9 public elementary schools in Somerville.
Okay.
And so we do rely on volunteer support to manage those spaces.
Well, you know what? You've got a wonderful website. It's www.groundworksomerville.org.
Yes.
And I went on there, and I told you before the show started that I went on. There's this bee knowledge kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can go on there. And I love bees. You know, they're vital to what
They're
we do.
very important.
Yeah, they
Absolutely.
are. And I did really great. I got 6 out of 15 right. So my wife actually got 1 less than me, and she's a huge gardener.
Wow.
Okay. But anyway, that is a good wrap up of what you guys do, which I think is really, really important. What we have here is, I want to give you like a little while here so you can plug what's going on, what's upcoming,
Sure.
and you can roll with it, a little closing statement, and give us some of the information that you have on here.
Great.
That's very important. That's coming up.
Course. Yeah, so we do, like you mentioned, have various volunteer opportunities, and we also host a lot of community events at South Street and other locations throughout the year. So the best way to find out about those events and opportunities is just to follow us on social media. So we're on Facebook at Groundwork Somerville, Twitter and Instagram at GW Somerville.
And we'll have that up for people to see too.
Great. So yeah, that's the place where our most current updates are. You get to see pictures of the green team, what's going on at Groundwork. Like you said, our website, and we will have coming up in September, our Harvest Gala will take place at the South Street Farm. So that's kind of our annual event and fundraiser, and we would love to have people come out to that. It's
And the Harvest
a beautiful
Gala,
space.
obviously, we're harvesting. We're getting a lot of great food, right?
Yep.
That's the time. If you know what? It's an amazing time of the year actually, because there's so much. I mean, squash.
Yeah,
Love squash.
It's beautiful. You'll see the plants thriving. You'll get to experience that space. So
That's an amazing piece of land. I said it 3 times already, but it really is. And I think that people should really, if you haven't been down there, down the South Street, should really go down there. Before the show started, Rae and I were having a conversation real quickly about what that land was. And really what it was is it was on a train. Cattle would come in on a train, and you know what would happen with that. And it was an area where it was slaughterhouses down there and all of that. That area is really being transformed into something that's really amazing down there right now.
Right.
And I think we're making the most out of every square yard, inch
Absolutely,
of what's
yeah.
happening in Somerville right now.
It was an industrial area, like you said, and it became this beautiful, small but beautiful urban farm. And that's
It's
part of.
small, but it's big, man. If you get in there and you look
Yeah,
at it,
it's true.
there's a lot going on down there.
There's a good amount of growing space down there.
So is there anything else that we should know about this going on?
Yeah, and then lastly, like I mentioned, we're just finishing up our hiring for the summer green team, and I said we had more applicants than ever before. I would love to accept a couple more that I had to put on the wait list.
Okay.
And so if you are in a position to donate, if you want to chip in to call up some of those green team members off of the wait list, you can do that as well. You can go to bit.ly/
And we're going to put that.
waitlist.
That'll be there too,
That'll
because
be up there.
we got it right here. We'll make sure we have that up there. And Jude's going to have his work cut out for him, but he'll put that link up there for you as well. It's been interesting. I appreciate the fact that you actually came on the show. I asked Rae if she
happy to
wanted
be
to come
here.
on the show. I think it was really important because we really don't know how valuable our community is until we actually see the value in it. And I think the fact that you guys go out and you're getting the community involved, that makes a huge difference. What's
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah.
So what I'd like to say, as I always do at the end of every show, is that in unity is strength,